Welcome into the Creative Creatures podcast. I'm here with Toby, who is my first specimen I will be given the honor to delve into the mind of. I'm very excited about this.
I'm excited to be here.
You seem very nervous.
I'm so nervous.
Why?
When I'm your specimen, I get nervous. I was nervous for the improv too, being a specimen.
I promise I will take good care of you.
I gotta represent humanity.
I think you're doing a great job. I think you really are. Yeah, for the most part, being a chud, as one says. I did not say that.
Self-proclaimed
Someone
chud.
else said that. Yes, correct. Not I. I would never. I think one of the main topics I did want to branch on, though, is starting off with manifestation. And so
Yes.
I'm curious to know what you know of or what you think of manifestation.
I've been manifesting. I make Pinterest boards, and that's how I like to manifest.
How about
How about you?
Well, so these are like vision boards. What do you do with them, though? Do you go back and look at them, or do you just continuously add things and then...
I do look at them, and I think that it's good to keep adding things. What I notice is that I'll add stuff that I like, and not necessarily stuff that's like hard. Also, I think that if you're sitting there being a chud on Pinterest and not actually practicing the things that you need to practice, then it doesn't manifest very much. I think when you're using like a digital means to manifest, a lot of the stuff on the internet is built around like making you jealous of other people's material possessions or like just beautiful things, less goal oriented, and I find that it makes me buy more shit, but it doesn't actually make me do some of my goals. Like some of my actual goals for a long time have been to like get my driver's license, like be good in school, and sometimes I'm good in school, sometimes I'll work on like my driving, but it almost has nothing to do with whether I'm like manifesting it or not. But you best bet that if I'm like putting something on my Pinterest board that I can buy, I'll manifest that into my personal space and manifest the money leaving my wallet. But like if I'm putting like, I will pass my driver's test on my vision board, that's gonna happen when it's gonna happen, when I've practiced enough. But if you put like, I will buy this shade of lipstick on my manifestation board or whatever, then that's doable. Sometimes like go look back on it and be like, those are things that I wanted. Sometimes I don't think I'm prioritizing like I should be.
I can only say that is a very interesting perspective to have. The first thing that caught my attention is saying the way you are phrasing your manifestations, because I think something people misconstrue about manifestation is they view it almost like a wish. I'm making a wish that this is going to be brought into my reality. I'm envisioning that this is coming to me. And I mean, to some extent that's true, but I think one big thing that has benefited me within my manifestation is treating what I want as if I already have it. And saying, for example, my driver's license, not that I will get my driver's license. I already have my driver's license. I already have my license, and gosh, it feels so good to cruise alone in my car, and like just visioning that and telling yourself, I already have it. It's already mine. I deserve it. It is owed to me. And then sitting with that feeling that comes into your physical body, like letting it wash over you, what that feels like inside when you have what you want. Because the reason you want something, you want it for a reason. You want how it's going to make you feel. You want what you think it'll do to benefit your life in a better way. But the universe doesn't give you anything that you feel you have to chase after. You have to sit back and be willing to receive and be willing to be patient for the things we want, so the universe can work behind the scenes to make things come together for your best interest at heart. And I mean, I I love the idea of vision boards. I do also utilize Pinterest. I used Pinterest vision boards to curate my manifestations, and I printed all of them out and curated them into a visible collage that I now have hung up that I can view visibly. And I look at that board first thing when I wake up, first thing like before I go to bed, and I envision it and I take it all in. It does also come back to that clarification that is needed, though, that manifestation isn't just existing within your psyche, though, and how much you believe it. You do have to show up and take the action and steps where it is necessary if you actually want to achieve your goal. And I do see you and other people and myself in certain situations where it's more, you know, being in that online space or journaling about it and just kind of, you know, putting it together logically in your mind, but not knowing how to make it come to life in the physical reality. And manifestation is also one of those things that, I mean, I do still have doubts about, because life is stressful and things get scary really fast. And to have to operate walking in such secure levels of faith and belief in the universe that even when things look like they're falling apart completely, putting that trust in that things are falling apart to be created into something better. And even the times I've had doubts about manifestation, the universe always proves me wrong, because...
You think you get the things that you manifest eventually?
I know I have.
Oh, well, I'm sure you have. But do you ever not get the things that you manifested? Maybe for the better or for worse. And you're not necessarily... That doesn't mean manifestation doesn't work, but I'm sure there's things that you've been manifesting and the universe is just like, no.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's not that manifestation doesn't work all the time. I think some things aren't meant for us.
Mm-hmm. But it's selective.
Yes, selective, yeah. And I also love coming back to the way people put into this perspective of saying, like, all these woo-woo people believing about manifestation and shit while we've got kids in other countries being bombed, and look at the slavery on this planet. Like, God isn't helping you with your manifestations, because look at all the other bullshit God is doing, and why would God help you with what you want, what is small in your little world? And I'm like, who hurt you? Who fucking hurt you? Like, why are you so pressed because I'm trying to build and believe in something for my life?
So in these conversations, some people would say that the things you're manifesting, the things you get, are gifts from God, but some people are more secular about it, that it's still like a spiritual practice, but it's not even necessarily people are attaching it to necessarily a god or the god, or just a completely atheist view of like manifesting. Sometimes it's just like, if you're thinking about stuff all the time, there's probably that makes sense to me, that you don't even have to be spiritual to be able to like attract things into your life by where you're putting your time and your thoughts and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I used God as like we're covering all bases here.
Yeah, but I'm curious what you think is bringing, like, what force do you think is selecting what you get when you manifest? Do you think it's like a completely secular thing where it's just like more up to the person doing it to change their thought process, or more of something that's more out of our control? More spiritual.
I think you are asking a very big question of me right now.
It's just big, but like, me personally, when I'm thinking about it, I know my answer, that I'm just like, because I don't really hardcore believe in any god, that I'm just like, I be thinking about stuff a lot, and maybe if I think about it enough, I'll start acting in accordance, and I'll get things in accordance. I don't attach a lot of... Sometimes I get a little mystical. I get a little twinkle in my eye, thinking like maybe there's like a force to it. I have a hard time thinking like that. And so I find it easier to be like, it's all on me, it's all on the physical world and not something more spiritual. That's easier for me to like understand it.
Absolutely, and I have mass respect for that. I think there is credit to be given to each individual person for the power of their own mind. The mind is a phenomenal thing, and I truly believe it does shape the world around us. Yeah, everybody has their own individual power, and I think certain people are more tapped into it than others, even though everybody is capable of accessing and harnessing those same type of, I guess you would call it, frequencies of bringing in betterment for your life. My beliefs are very, very mixed. Layers between the individual and what I can best describe as like the universal entity. You can call it God, you can call it spirit, universal entity, the creator, the universe in which we were birthed from. I think that there is an overlap between those two things in my beliefs, which is the power of the universe and the power of the individual, as well as the power of the collective consciousness, which is the unity between all of humanity's minds. So there's three distinct characters that come into play for me when it comes to, I mean, I guess we're rerouting it down into manifestation, but for my own personal experience with manifestation, I mean, I have accepted that I do create my own reality, and I kind of view this earth like a video game. I am at a precipice of, or I have been in the building block stages where there is so much change and transformation transpiring within my life. And because there are such big changes that are shifting around me, it means that every single step that I take forward, I have to be mindful of what I give my time and energy to, where I go, who I talk to, what I dabble in, and combining that with manifestation, it means I have to be very, very clear about what I want and what I am going towards. Because if I'm not clear about my manifestations and what I want for my life, that could put me down a very different trajectory, or maybe not the right one for me, maybe not the best path for me to take. And I work very closely hand in hand with following my intuition, which also guides my manifestations. My intuition guides everything in my life, even though I am somebody who gets overwhelmed and up in their head and overthinks a lot. Every single decision I make, every action I take, everywhere I go, everyone I talk to, is, I believe that it's already fated to encounter, because I also believe that the past, present, and future all exist at the same time at once, because time is a construct that even the smartest physicists don't know how to understand. And so same thing with kind of sitting in that belief during your manifestations, of feeling it in your physical body, saying, I already have this. It's because future you knows that you already have it. So sitting with that sense of like assuredness within yourself, like, I have nothing to worry about because I'm taking the right steps and the right actions to bring this into my reality. So why would I doubt that it's all going to work out for me?
I lost the plot.
It's okay. I went in 12 different directions, so I'm not surprised that you lost the plot. That was on me. My bad, dog.
You stop crossing my toes. No free feet.
It's okay. Maybe someone will tip us.
You were talking about collective consciousness and the power of everybody's minds. Could you expand on that? Because I'm thinking about like manifestation, and that to me is like a deeply individual process. You know, everybody's kind of thinking about themselves. So, what does that? Well, what did you mean by that? With the power of like everybody's?
I will use social media as a great example of that.
That feels so real. Like, I feel like I'm tapping into the hive mind, the group thing.
Yes.
When I'm using social media.
Look at I guess you would just say viral moments.
Mm-hmm.
When things spread quickly across the world or the nation or even a community locally, people, their perspectives change.
Yeah.
They take in the same information, they change their thought pattern. And if enough people view the same thing in the same way or are taking in the same information, I heard a phrase called where attention goes, energy flows, which means whatever you give your attention to, you're also giving your energy to. And I guess you would kind of refer to it as a hive mind, where using, for example, the emotions of love or hate, those two types of things can spread very quickly from people. Let's say somebody accuses you of doing something god awful. Whether you did it or not doesn't really matter, but they go around and they tell everybody in the community you did this god awful thing. Now, everybody in that collective mind thinks negatively of you. How is that going to impact you? All of their attention and negative energy that they put on you, how does that make you feel?
I mean, yeah, that's not good.
Not good. And the collective mind, because if it's just one or two or three people that are coming after you, it's easy to say, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Move on with your life. But if it's hundreds or thousands or millions of people that are directing all their consciousness and their energy and their attention on one thing, it's going to have an impact. It's going to have an effect. And we're also seeing that happen tremendously within the political sphere. I mean,
Yeah.
look at what's transpired, even using the No Kings protests for an example. I mean, we've seen the shift of people starting to move over into a different spectrum of political beliefs because things are changing. And all of that messaging is getting sent around, especially through social media. Social media is one of the biggest forms of what I can deem is a technological advancement of collective consciousness. And it is also one of the easiest mainstream ways to share information, like it is rapid fire, and get it out to a large audience very quickly. I think it is both a blessing and a curse, but I have hopes for the collective consciousness, even if it seems hopeless right now, because a lot of humanity is struggling and afraid and hurt. There's war and so much evil that transpires. Seeing how many people are hurting and angry and filled with hate, and seeing more and more people fall down into that hole, that impacts the energy of the earth, because I believe that this planet is, I think the entire existence of this planet is a spiritual experience. The earth is alive, and it goes through these cycles of birth and death continuously. I kind of got off topic there a little bit, but I want to reframe back to class consciousness.
Oh, well, I mean, all the hate on the internet impacts the health of the earth, like,
Yes.
spiritually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the same breath, can you imagine what our planet would look like if the majority of the class consciousness was filled with love instead of hate? We would be operating in a very different world if that was the case.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, because honestly, I get really bad vibes from the internet, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I know it's what you make it, what you interact with on there, but I feel like just going out and interacting with the world, shitty stuff happens and people are shitty, but I feel a lot calmer and less worried that everybody is terrible than what I do when I'm on my phone. Like, sometimes you'll just be on your phone and you're like, God, is everything really that terrible? And then you go outside and you touch grass and somebody's like nice to you and you're like, okay, I remember how people typically are now. And I guess it kind of depends on your environment, because I've definitely been in really toxic environments where you just, like, even in person, you feel like everything is bad because that's just what's around you. but I feel like the internet has an ability to over exaggerate that and bring it out. I think it's probably even on purpose, like shock value and stuff for clicks. And yeah, I guess it's kind of off topic of manifestation, but when we're talking about like how it affects the collective consciousness, it kind of skews people's view of the world. So when you're going and interacting not online and in person, and you're dealing with people who can tap into that headspace online where everything is like a negative echo chamber, causing them to have a negative worldview, and you're talking to them and you're like, yikes, just yikes. Especially like when you're talking to like old people and they have like a worldview built around like internet fear mongering and stuff. It like impacts your real life.
And you realize they are just completely in the depths of propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really bad sometimes.
I think that's the other interesting thing is like there's subsections within the internet where it really can shape your perspective where you fall online, because people, like I've talked to some people who have very different beliefs from me, and where they exist on the internet, the types of things that come up on their page are worlds different from mine. And so I think similar to how you said an echo chamber, people also live in their own little bubbles online where everything is formatted within the algorithm to push this content out that keeps them engaged, filtered completely around what is going to make this person stay within their beliefs and keep them as agitated and irritated at the rest of the world, to keep people fighting with each other, because things are so easily misconstrued online. You can say one sentence and everybody is going to take it in a different way. It's also really easy for people to hide behind a screen, because I know people who will say the nastiest, most god-awful things online, but if they were in front of you, they won't say a thing. I actually just had a situation like this. There is somebody in my comments who apparently went to high school with me saying some really, really out there stuff in my comments. And I saw this and I was like, oh, okay, I completely forgot about you, but I'm glad that you remember me. I was out in the public the other day and I saw this guy, and he was sitting like in a waiting room next to me, and I looked over and he's just dead staring at me, like will not look away. So I look at him and I just look at him, and then I turn away and I go back to my business. And that was the entire interaction. But then I went online later that night and saw that the same guy from my school had commented and said, I saw you in the waiting room and the look you gave me was just ridiculous, and how dare you, and like going off about whatever, literally just saying I'm a freak. And I find it funny because,
like, you weren't physically there, you could have just said something.
well, one, he obviously recognized me and chose to not come up to me and say anything. I didn't even recognize him. I just thought it was some random guy, and that's what's funny to me is I'm clearly causing a problem in your life, and I don't even know who you are. But he had zero courage to come up and say anything to my face. He just looked at me. But the moment he got home and went online, guess who was back commenting on my posts? People like that are cowards. True cowards, but they will hide behind the internet because there's no consequences. I think he might know that if he was to say some shit like that to my face, he'd end up in the hospital.
Yeah. People online have been saying things to me that would end them up in the hospital in person, and when I express that, like, if I see you, we're gonna fight. like, I feel like people need to, people need to have that reality check sometimes. Like, you're using fighting words right now.
Fighting words, hell yeah, let's fucking go. And I'm a lover. I'm also a fighter.
I don't actually fight in person that much because people typically don't say things to me that people don't have the courage to say stuff like that. Or maybe I'm more passive. Like, I've definitely just, like, gotten in arguments and stuff, like, over text or something, and I've probably been braver over text than I am in person, too. But I just, like, it's so weird that we can just, like, fight over text now and stuff without any consequences. I mean, that's why I low-key, if I could quit the internet, I would, but I'm so addicted to my phone. It freaks me out that we can, like, get into these, like, negative ruts of all this stuff we're seeing. It stresses me out that you can be having, like, fake fights and stuff that are, like, would not be a problem otherwise. And I think sometimes it, like, connects you with people that are just, like, you're not meant to be around. I think that my life is better when I'm off my phone. And I've heard people say, like, I saw, like, a post saying, your phone is amazing, like, doing drugs while you're, like, ignoring your family is amazing. It's like you're not connecting with other human beings. It has everything you could ever want, but at the cost of, you know, real connection.
Oh, I think Bo Burnham wrote a song about that.
Welcome
to the internet.
Yeah.
Have a look around.
Yeah. It's like
anything and everything, all of the time.
Yeah, it's that. And it makes me, that's one of the things that I've wanted to do is just, like, get, like, a flip phone. I'm on Instagram a lot. I like to communicate through, like, sending people, like, reels or memes or anything. I crave that, like, social aspect because it is kind of like a special feeling that you get to be so interconnected with people that you normally wouldn't be. Because, you know, if you're, like, lonely or something, and all my friends live in here, but they live out here too. And I feel better when I am seeing them out here.
Being on your phone is a whole different world. It really is. Being on the internet is a whole different world. And sometimes I get stuck here, and you have to remember to look up. Yeah. And it is addictive. Like, they make it addictive on fucking purpose.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to backtrack to something you had mentioned prior about the fighting words and how people will say really ridiculous things over text, but then you meet in person and it's like nothing ever happened. And that made me realize that is a big part of why people don't like me. Mm-hmm. Is because the things that people will only say over text, I will say straight to their face. Mm-hmm. And they don't like that. They do not. Mm-hmm. But I think that also shows I'm not two-faced. And I won't just talk shit to talk shit. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say and stand on it. And I think more people should be like that, honestly.
I don't know, because sometimes I think I can be like that, but I can also be shy. I think that in person, I eat a lot of shit that, like, people will be, like, giving me shit, and I'll just take it.
Why, though?
I don't know. Sometimes I think that it'll just, like, it's like a picking your battles thing. And which, I mean, is, sometimes it sounds like bullshit advice, but sometimes it's, like, maybe the things that you just eat then sit and, like, rot inside your brain when you don't say them. But I think I'm super, like, quiet around, like, family members. I don't like making weird political statements. I don't say anything because I'm like, what is that gonna do? I'm just gonna, like, argue until I'm blue in the face and then not feel like I got anywhere at the end of it and just feel like frustrated and sad. To a certain point, it's just like sometimes just like letting people talk their shit and like knowing that I don't need to explain myself to them, that sometimes it feels pretty peaceful. I mean, maybe it will still like eat you up a little bit because you're like, they just got to talk their shit and I'm sitting here just having to take it, but then you're not giving them anything to like feed off of.
It goes back to what you give your attention to, your energy goes to, because like you said, going till you're blue in the face and then just feeling frustrated, and it doesn't change their perspective anyways.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a simple thing to say pick your battles, because that can also be a safety thing. Because sometimes we live in the type of world too where all it takes is you opening your mouth and saying the wrong thing and someone will fucking shoot you in the face.
Yeah.
Like I've heard horrible, god-awful stories of somebody doing something shitty and that person got pissed off and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then they died over some altercation like that. And that is obviously a very extreme example of what could go wrong. But pick your battles.
Yeah.
Pick your battles.
Do pick them. Be brave, be yourself, like, be the same person that you, like, don't be two-faced, obviously, but, sometimes things are inside thoughts, too.
Oops. Me and my inside thoughts.
Me and my inside
Oops.
thoughts. Call it back to the main topic of, like, manifestation. I feel like we got onto the internet because it was, like, I don't know, you manifest using the internet, using Pinterest.
And then we talked about collective consciousness.
The collective consciousness.
It's all tied together.
We live in a society.
We live in a society. Correct. All I guess I can say is that I have true lived experience with my manifestations where the universe completely took me by surprise in the way things are presented to me. Because manifestations, the funny thing about them is you could have a pretty good idea of how you think it's going to come into your reality. Nope. Most of the time it is something completely different from what you expected. You still get what you wanted. It might just be different how it comes in. And my vision board that I made last year for 2025, it was once again a physical vision board I made. Every single thing on it came true. Every single thing, down to where I lived, where I was, who I was around, what I was bringing in socially, my internal environment, my community surroundings, like everything that I had put on that board came into fruition, even down to the physical aspects of what it looked like. For example, that the house that I moved into looked exactly like the one that I had put on my vision board. And it was a cartoon picture I had put on my vision board, not a real house. It was a cartoon. Looked the literal exact fucking same.
Aww.
Yeah. And now I'm looking at my vision board that I made for 2026, and I'm already seeing things come to fruition.
Yeah.
And so I wish more people understood the power of their mind, and that if they truly desire something and are willing to put in the action and the effort to make it happen, anything is possible. I truly do believe that.
The entire time you were talking just now, I was like, intuition. That's so important, because honestly, I sit there and I ignore my intuition. Like, I fuck around and find out because I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, because often it's like there's something that you want for some reason that maybe you shouldn't have, but you're like going for it stupidly, and your intuition is telling you don't do that because you know how it's going to end, and then you find out. And like, I remember sitting there a while ago having a bad feeling about the job that I had, having a bad feeling about the relationship I was in, and then I got fired from the job and then lost the relationship in 6 months, and I ran out of money. It was like my mental health was in the toilet. It was like a catastrophic like moment from me ignoring like months and even years worth of intuition of like something's not right. And it literally had to be me sitting there like no money, fighting with everybody in my life, so depressed, so anxious, like I dropped out of all of my classes. I was not doing so hot, and I think that like things happen when they're gonna happen. What happened. But I think if I could have just like took what I was foreseeing and just been like, yeah, I trust that, I could have maybe avoided catastrophic stuff. Yeah, I would have listened to myself. And I'm like, I actively am like going through like trying to like open my freaking ears to be able to even hear gut feelings and not just like, but I want it. I want to take this trip even though I know that I'm gonna have no money afterwards. I like this job, so I'm gonna stay at this job even though I know I'm gonna be fired like very soon. When you just get these bad heebie-jeebies instead of like taking action, just like seeing it through all the way to and clinging on to things, putting energy into things that you shouldn't.
Yeah, the universe will slap you really hard for doing that.
Yeah, I'm got
Yup.
bitch slapped.
Yup. Multiple times.
Getting what you need instead of what you want is a big thing. Like, or like you'll get what you want in just like a different way. There will be this thing that you really want to do and you'll get redirected and you'll be happier and you didn't get what you wanted, but you would have hated it if you got it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. The universe knows us better than we know ourselves sometimes. It sees everything, even the stuff we have no idea is happening around us.
I had like a therapist say that like time is a big thing, and not just like in a time heals all wounds thing, but in like a things will just naturally change without you even having to do anything sometimes. Like obviously like with the manifesting we're doing stuff, we're like putting our energy into things, but change is also just like the way of the world. Like 6 months ago I was really struggling because of the cold and not having heat, and now that's not something I'm stressed out about because it's literally the summer. And I was pretty like, that was like a big thing that was on my mind a few months ago, and it'll be on my mind again in the winter. Like, but things like the seasons, and this is true in probably a lot of areas of life, will just change when they're ready. When you realize that, it's easier to like wait it out instead of feeling like it's such a catastrophe. Do you know what I mean?
I'm actually really happy to hear you phrase things like that because that's very true. That's kind of what I've been in right now, is the waiting period.
Yeah, it's important to like, she described it like being like a little caterpillar in a little cocoon waiting to become a butterfly.
I love using the butterfly metamorphosis analogy. I do. Most of the time I feel like the goo. Because they turn into goo inside. They turn into goo and then...
This past 6 months I have been goo.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm becoming less goo and more of a beautiful little creature and less of a goopy one. And I'm not entirely there yet, I don't think. But
I will love you even in your goop.
Thank you. That's important. But yeah, I do see what she means. Because so that little goop creature has to wait time, just kind of like experiencing change. It itself even changes in its little thing, and then the seasons are changing outside, and yeah, it's not pretty.
It's probably also a very painful internal process to go through.
Yeah.
That you're shedding everything and becoming anew. And I think it's interesting the way you said, like, they're in here and yet the world is changing around them, because I have been in that state a lot. It's part of why I've been able to become who I am today, is because I have gone inside and hermited and done so much of that internal work to now blossom out as a butterfly into the world. And yet, the weird thing about that is that when you go through those private, personal transitions, to the outside world, it might not appear that different, but internally, you are such a different person. And I've also been grateful enough to be able to see how that internal work has appeared in my external reality, because who I am internally affects how I show up in the world. Obviously, everyone is that way. But healing through so much of what caused me to think how I did, why I felt towards other people the way I did, how I spoke to other people, how I thought about certain things, like reprocessing and reframing everything and healing. And I'm still in that journey. It's a continuous journey. But the work I've already put in and established, people around me have been able to see that and take note of that and see the growth. And the reason I find it interesting is because to some people, it might appear as if this was an overnight thing. Oh, one day Astra just woke up and they started acting different, and now they, it wasn't like that. This was months and years in the making of putting in this internal work to show up as the best and better version of myself. And not only does that impact yourself, but it impacts the people and the world around you. Working on yourself to become a better person can have such an influence on everything and everyone around you, which is why I think it's so important for people to prioritize listening to themselves and taking care of themselves and comforting themselves. Because a lot of people are afraid to be alone. They're afraid to sit in the silence. They're afraid to work through their past.
Negative emotions.
And so a lot of people turn to external factors to satiate the part of themselves that is aching to do that internal work, because a lot of people walk around with this person screaming inside of them, I'm hurting and I'm in pain and I'm afraid, and they ignore it. They walk around, they ignore it, they distract themselves. And I'm guilty of that too. I really am, because sometimes that's just how you have to operate through life. But there are people who go their whole lives without sitting with themselves for 5 minutes to process through the life they've lived. And
that gets you bitch slapped by the universe.
Yes! Yes, it does! And they will repeat those cycles and the same lessons over and over again until they've proven, I learned this, let's learn something else.
There's this Kali Uchis song where she's saying I can't keep blocking all these lessons. And that's so real. I feel when you keep getting bitch slapped around by the universe and you're not listening and you're just repeating and doing the things that you may want but aren't good for you, and you're not going to learn until you actually change.
Mm-hmm. And people, it's literally the Matrix. People are comfortable and they're happy within their comfort zone, even if they're not actually happy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not actually happy.
It actually bugs me how many people aren't actually happy. How many people picked their lives and settled for them. Some older people have died living lives that they weren't too thrilled about, like.
I think that's one of the other things that shifted me, was realizing that I was running out of time, because most of my life was just spent fucking around and finding out. I didn't have much of a direction. I didn't know. I was just going about my days. I didn't really have a plan or a prominent future that I pictured for myself, aside from relative dreams and wishes and hopes and stuff, but I wasn't taking myself seriously. I wasn't taking this life seriously. I wasn't waking up every day grateful to have the experience of being here. And yeah, some days are still really hard to be here, because operating on planet Earth is a fucking shit show, but I decided to unironically live by the sentiment of you only live once, because I get one shot during my time here. I might as well make it worthwhile. I might as well try whatever I want and experience as much as I possibly can, and to accept the good and the bad that comes with it, both the love and the loss of everything. And death has followed me like a shadow companion my entire life. I have been haunted by the spirit of death. It has tried mercilessly to take me from this planet my whole life. And that is part of why I'm not afraid of anything anymore, is because I know I could die today, I could die tomorrow, whether at my own hand, at the hand of someone else, or my body just giving out on me. Which means I should use my voice and use my body and use my mind and heart while I still have it. And I shouldn't be afraid of anything or anyone, because time here is limited and so precious, and everything can end in a flash of a second, which is why all the people and places and things in my life that surround me that I love, I cherish and appreciate so deeply, and pour all of my praise and affection and time and energy into, because I just cherish everything. I do. And I wish more people operated in the perspective that I do, because I think we would love each other and the world a lot more deeply. We would appreciate our surroundings and experiences more. But at the same time, I'm also kind of grateful that majority of people don't operate with the same mindset I do, or feel this way the way I do, because
More for you?
Well,
more fun things in the world for you to, like, I guess it's not like pie, like if everyone else is doing it, like there's not gonna be less for you, but I don't know, like if there are opportunities out there and people just aren't taking them because they're living in fear and not doing the side quests, and you are, like, sucks.
You know
to
what,
be them.
Toby? Fucking thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that also intimidates people.
Yeah.
It does. Because people are like, well, I don't feel comfortable enough doing what you're doing, so what makes you feel you're good enough to be doing what you're doing? I'm like, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you. You are also capable. You're choosing to not do what I'm doing. That's on you, not me. I think I figured out where I want to leave this. This podcast, correct, which is with the universal message that if you are currently in the stage of being goo, if you are lost in the goo, you are still worthy of love, and things will not always be goo. Eventually you will be a beautiful butterfly.
Yes.
Correct.
The goo is time for change.
The goo is time for change.
Transformation.
Yes. thank you for letting me interview you, Toby. This was actually a lot of fun.
Yay!
And thank you, dear audience, for tuning into Creative Creatures.